Inside the Mayasam Center behind me, vigorous preparation is taking place to make sure that the Hajj days pass as smoothly as possible and to ensure that any accident or tragedy that takes place is dealt with in the most quick and efficient manner. From the 10th of Shawwal, hospital staff meet weekly to begin preparations for Hajj, and from the 1st of Dhul Hijjah onwards, they gather on a daily basis to ensure that everything is functioning properly and that the facility is adequately equipped to best serve the pilgrims. In addition to these hospitals, there are over 80 medical centers in the area. There are also mobile clinics and portable ICU units built into ambulances. The ambulances come in a number of sizes, ranging from the standard size to very compact designs made to travel easily through crowds and reach places regular cars can't go. The Ministry of Health has also designated a helicopter specified for medical services to fly above the pilgrims at Arafat and ensure that everything is calm and orderly on the ground. If a tragedy happens to occur, the helicopter, fully equipped with an internal intensive care unit, will be able to transport victims to the nearest hospital while providing them treatment along the way. With regards to toilets and wudu facilities, there are plenty of designated areas in Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah. The wudu areas are normally located right next to the toilets, and although they are abundant, they are also extremely crowded, making the queues very long. Many suggest reducing food intake on this day in order to spend less time in queues and more time in worship. As Muslims spend this day in remembrance of Allah and repenting to Him, Satan grows increasingly angry at the forgiveness pilgrims are receiving. Abu Darda, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "On no other day does Satan feel so belittled, humiliated, and angry as he does on the day of Arafat." It is indeed very difficult for Iblis, who has been deceiving the son of Adam for all his life, to find that on this day all the pilgrims' actions will be forgiven. Abu Hurairah reports that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "All sins committed in between the performance of one Umrah and another are expiated and erased, and the reward of Hajj Mabrur is nothing save paradise." As sunset approaches after a long day of prayer and supplication, you should begin to prepare yourself for departure from Arafat. You must remain in Arafat until after sunset. Maghrib is the best time to make istighfar or seek forgiveness, and being at Arafat during sunset is a time you should be keen not to miss. Take advantage of the moment to its fullest and trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you, inshaAllah. At this time, you will find all pilgrims gathering in the millions, praying to Allah as this day comes to an end. When the sun has set and the adhan for Maghrib is called, you should make your way towards Muzdalifah. As you proceed, it is recommended that you spend your journey in dhikr and supplication. The distance between Arafat and Muzdalifah is about 9 kilometers or 6 miles and will take approximately 2.5 hours to walk. Upon arriving, you should pray Maghrib and Isha combined, shortening Isha from 4 to 2 rak'ahs. The Prophet, peace be upon him, collected the stones used to pelt the jamrat, or the pillars, from Muzdalifah. The stones must be small in size, approximately the size of a pea or date seed. However, it is not necessary to collect the stones from Muzdalifah, as they can be gathered from any place within the sacred land of Mecca and its surrounding territory. You may settle anywhere in Muzdalifah, except the area known as the Valley of Muhassir. This is the place where the punishment of Allah descended upon the people of the elephant, Ashab al-Fil, after an army of disbelievers marched from Yemen under the command of Abraha to demolish the Kaaba during Abdul Muttalib's leadership of Quraysh. Staying in Muzdalifah is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who slept the night there and departed after Fajr for Mina. It is important to get rest at this time, because there are many actions to complete on the next day. The Prophet, peace be upon him, gave the option for women, the old, the weak, and the sick to leave after midnight in order to beat the crowds. Nowadays, scholars have issued fatwas that allow permission of departure to anyone who desires to leave that night. The next day is the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, a day of Eid and celebration for Muslims around the world. As for the pilgrims, it is also a day in which many rites need to be completed as one approaches the culmination of the Hajj. After Fajr, the Prophet, peace be upon him, began the rites by throwing the pebbles at the largest jamrat, performing the sacrifice, shaving his head, and finally performing tawaf around the Kaaba. However, it is not necessary for the rites to be performed in this order. In a hadith reported by Abdullah bin Amr, he said, "The Prophet, peace be upon him, stood in Mina during the farewell Hajj, while the people asked him questions and he answered them. A man asked, 'O Prophet of Allah, I was not alert and I shaved my head before slaughtering my animal.' The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, 'There is no harm, go and slaughter your animal.' Another man asked, I slaughtered the animal before I threw the pebbles. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told him, there is no harm, go and throw the pebbles. The narrator then said, whoever asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, about anything done before or after the other, he told him, there is no harm done, go and do whatever you missed. On this day, you are only required to stone the Jamratul Kubra, the largest of the 3 pillars, 7 times. The best time to throw the pebbles is before noon, following the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Some scholars have said that delaying until after dark is permissible if there is a genuine excuse for doing so. Once you are in front of the Jamra, you should say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and throw your pebbles. While it's not necessary that you hit the pillar itself with a stone, you should ensure that the stone falls within the ring around the pillar. If you are sure that the pebbles did not land within this area, you should repeat that throw. This is why some people, when collecting the pebbles, gather a few extra in case they need to repeat a throw. It is not sunnah to wash the stones, as some people incorrectly believe. After you have thrown the 7 pebbles and clipped some of your hair, or for men following the sunnah, shaved your head, you are allowed to exit your ihram and are released from all its restrictions with the exception of sexual relations with one spouse. This becomes permissible only upon completing tawaf al-ifada. Pilgrims should remain in Mina for the following 2 or 3 days, depending on what you or the group you are traveling with decides to do. The option to remain either number of days is correct, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, فَمَنْ تَعَجَّلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ وَمَنْ تَأَخَّرَ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. Whoever hurries to 2 days, there is no sin upon him, and whoever delays, there is no sin upon him. Throughout these days, the only action to perform is the daily stoning of all 3 pillars 7 times each. Starting from the smallest Jamra, you should say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, before throwing each pebble. Then, as you proceed towards the middle pillar, turn towards the Kaaba and make dua. After throwing the second set of 7 pebbles at the middle Jamra, again turn towards the Kaaba and supplicate to Allah. Once you have completed the Rami at the last Jamra, the largest pillar, do not make dua and continue out of the Jamrat area. This is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The stoning of the pillars is an action performed in commemoration of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him's victory over Satan, when he tried to cast doubts in Ibrahim's heart and divert him away from his Lord. There are different narrations regarding the occasion in which this incident took place. Some scholars say that Satan appeared to block Ibrahim from performing the Hajj rites. Others claim it was to deter him from slaughtering his son, Ismail, while still others believe it was to prevent him from leaving his wife Hajar and his son Ismail in the desert when Ismail was still an infant. The respected scholar Al-Ghazali explains that throwing the pebbles is an expansion of the thrower's intention to obey Allah's commandment and a demonstration of his humility and servitude to Him.